everybody, it's Dr. Demelza here at Niabi's Nest facility. That's our enrichment supply and task room. I don't have a mask because I'm filming myself in a building where I'm the only one present. So today I want to show you how to make a tissue paper flower that we can give to our animals. And so you will find there's lots of instructions out there on YouTube on making tissue paper flowers, but many of them use parts and pieces that we cannot use here at the zoo, such as staples and tape and so on. So I want to show you how we make it for our animals using only paper products, no tape, no glues, no staples, anything like that. So this is going to be our end product. So what do we need? Well, first of all, we need tissue paper. In this case, I just have some tissue paper that's 20 inches by 20 inches. And you're going to need to select 5 sheets of tissue paper. You could make them in any color combination you choose, but for this purpose, for that size flower, I'm going to use 5 sheets of tissue paper that I've lined up, one on top of the other, onto my table. So now I need to fold the tissue paper concertina style. So you start about an inch in size, and you just basically fold them over. Make sure you press down really well, all the way down, just like a concertina style. So we're going to do that. Press down really nice on the seams as you go. As I said, about an inch or so wide. All the way down to the end. Okay, so when you've finished, you're going to have something that looks kind of like that, okay? So it's folded over. Make sure, as I said before, you press down nice and firmly on those seams. Now I'm going to cut this piece of paper, these in half, roughly in half, because I want to get 2 flowers out of this piece of paper. We try to maximize how much we get, and I want that size flower at the end of it. So I end up with these 2 pieces out of the 20 by 20 inch paper. So the next thing I'm going to do, and you don't have to do this step, but I'm going to use my scissors to just snip off a little bits at the end so that I get a little bit of shape to the flower when I've finished. And you could round them over, you could make jagged edges, anything you want, just to make an end to it. Okay, so here's the step where we're slightly different than you may see it elsewhere, in that we do not use staples, we do not use paper clips, tape, anything like that. What we use is actually braided streamers. And so we have a streamer, starts like this, and we braid it just as you would hair into a piece. So you start with 3 strands and you braid it. If you've ever braided hair, it's the same principle. We're going to use this. We use braided newspaper and braided streamers a lot here at the zoo to hold things up. So I'm going to cut off a piece, roughly 18 inches or so, off of this giant ball that a lovely volunteer made for us. And so what I'm going to do is fold this roughly in half, so you see, like that, and then I'm going to just tie this off in the center, nice and firm. And if the braids are made nice and tight together, it's going to hold really well and it shouldn't tear. So that's what I end up with here. So the braid, this is going to be hanging, and I have it tied off in the center. So there's my piece so far. So as you can see, we have the pieces here. Now what I'm going to do is start on one side, and you kind of you fan these out, and then you're going to pick up each piece of tissue paper individually, and be careful because you can rip the tissue paper if you're too heavy-handed, and just gently pull the tissue paper up into the middle of what will be your flower. So you see, there's my first layer, and then I'm going to do the same with all of the other pieces. As I said, if you're too heavy-handed, you're just going to tear your tissue paper rather. So again, I'm pulling it up into the center. Okay, a couple more on this side. And you can fluff these up a little after you finish with it, but you see in principle I have one side done. Now I just need to turn it around and do exactly the same with the other side, pulling them up towards the center. And again, don't be too heavy-handed or the tissue paper will tear. Now you can make these in any kinds of fun color combinations. Now for here at Niabi Zoo, because this is going for animals with animal enrichment, we do not use tissue paper that has any kind of glitter or other kinds of, or shiny, anything like that. It just needs to be plain tissue paper, no glittery attachments onto the paper. So just the paper in and of itself in a variety of colors makes a really pretty flower. And we would use these for things like our pollinator day enrichment or just any kind of nice flower enrichment. And then you can fluff it up, and basically there we have our tissue paper flower. And this piece of braided streamer can then easily be tied onto a tree branch or something within the habitat for the animal to have. You can spritz it with scents. We could also potentially drop pieces of seed in there that maybe a bird has to search through the tissue paper flower to find. So that's how we do our tissue paper flowers here at Niabi. Again, if you're making anything for animals, like animals at home, or particularly for us here at the zoo, we never ever use tape and staples and things like that. So maybe in another video, I'll show you how to braid the streamers, but it's essentially, if you braided hair before, same principle. So that's our tissue paper flower, and because I cut this piece in half, I can now get two nice flowers of this size. Obviously, the size of your flower is dependent on how big your piece is. Now we use the 5 pieces here in this particular size flower. So there we go with tissue paper flowers for animals here at Niabi Zoo. Thanks for watching.